at the Lawrence City Commission meeting. You can see up on the monitor up there, that's the outside look at downtown. And looks like we have 4 commissioners here. Wonder if Lisa Larson remembered to come or if that Alzheimer's is setting in. So, looks like she's the only one not here. Chief of Police showed up at a couple of them here recently, but it doesn't look like he's going to be here tonight either. I can't blame him because it ain't looking good there either. We do have a support Palestine. They want to stop the bombing of Palestine, and you know, I'm all for stopping the bombing of anybody, so let's just stop all the bombing. How's that go? Right?
All liberation is connected.
Let's just stop all the bombing.
We're bombing Libya right now too, where a lot of the Palestinian refugees are.
We're bombing Libya now too? Yeah.
All liberation is connected.
Well, you know, we've been bombing everybody since oil was discovered, right?
Part of our fight.
So I think I'm going to go on in here and we'll listen into the meeting, guys.
The city reserves the right to turn videos off or mute virtual participants. The meeting is being recorded and broadcast on the city's YouTube channel and cable channel 25. When the mayor calls for public comment, please approach the podium to indicate you wish to speak. Those participating virtually should use the raise hand function to indicate they wish to speak. Please leave your virtual hand raised until you are called on. If you have any trouble, you can send a chat, and all chats go directly to the meeting host. Please state your name before speaking, and all comments will be limited to 3 minutes. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Sure. All right, go ahead and get us started off with agenda item A. Approve the agenda.
Move to approve the agenda.
Second. All right, I have a first and a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
That's 4 in favor, 0 opposed. Moving on to item B, recognition and proclamation presentation. Looks like we have one. Do we have anybody here to go ahead and receive this?
Mayor Littlejohn, members of the Lawrence City Commission. My name is Celestine Afani Muzik. I'm a Palestinian American who has lived in Lawrence for 24 years. And I'm here before you today on behalf of Rally for Palestine, a group dedicated to advocating for a ceasefire in Gaza and Palestine. Though this proclamation is a step in the right direction, and I do thank Mayor Littlejohn for it, especially on the swiftness of it, there is more that must be done, so I'm also going to urge you to consider the gravity of the situation and the urgency for a more impactful resolution. The current proclamation, unfortunately, lacks explicit mention of Gaza or a ceasefire, a critical omission that does not truly address the heart of this matter. Right now, the death toll is devastatingly high, with countless innocent civilians suffering in what can only be described as a humanitarian crisis. So our plea today is for a resolution that not only acknowledges this reality, but actively works towards a lasting solution. I understand the Commission's preference for this proclamation. I do. However, a resolution is not merely a symbolic gesture. It carries the weight of commitment and action. We need our leaders to opt for a resolution calling for a ceasefire to show that our city is united in supporting human rights and promoting our dedication to peace and justice on the international stage. Please remember that a resolution benefits all sides. This cause aligns with the principles outlined in our city's mission statement, emphasizing the importance of justice, equality, and the well-being of all citizens. As representatives of Lawrence, you cannot shy away from addressing global issues that resonate with the values that we in Lawrence hold dear. So today, with great urgency, I would like you to consider the sentiment of our community. Lawrence is known for its compassion and commitment to justice. Our citizens are passionate about standing up for those who suffer, and it is our duty to reflect those values in our actions. In advocating for a resolution, we are not only expressing solidarity with the people in Gaza, but also contributing to a broader dialogue. I propose that alongside this resolution, the city commissioners draft letters to our representatives in Congress urging them to take a stand for peace in the region. It's never too late to show where we stand as a community in this historic event. I am always proud of our city, always, for standing up for human rights, and I wouldn't want to see that trend come to a screeching halt because our commission refused to advocate for a ceasefire. By adopting a resolution and engaging with Congress, Lawrence, like many cities who have already adopted a resolution, can play a significant role in fostering peace and bringing attention to the urgent need for a ceasefire in Gaza. I do thank you for this moment and for your time and consideration.
Was that? Yeah. It's
Mayor, can I say a brief words, please?
I will allow it, but it is not our normal procedure. Go ahead.
It's not our normal procedure for commissioners not to provide comments on proclamations.
Okay.
I was just asking for one clarification.
Oh, yeah,
It's not-
yes, yeah, we don't.
So commissioners typically are not allowed to.
Yes, we
Okay.
do.
I just wanted to make sure.
Yes.
Well, I'll take this grace. And just say briefly, I appreciate, those who come to speak, and I've appreciated being able to have the opportunity to talk to those who have serving as advocates and voices in our community, around, this topic. Whether it is a proclamation or a resolution. I appreciate the willingness of staff to help draft language that evokes a tone that is comfortable with many of the commissioners that sit on the dais. Unfortunately, this proclamation does fall a bit short for me. And I think why it does for me personally, and also as an elected official, here to be a voice for those in our community, is how often in an attempt to not rock the boat, we miss the opportunity in the message, and in the message of the movement. And I think in calling for advocating for peace, that we miss that peace requires justice. And that whether you omit the words ceasefire, no matter what you think the definition is, the calling of a ceasefire means bringing light to an injustice. And by advocating hard for the injustice and calling out the injustice and educating those on that injustice, you then start the pathway to peace. And so as we look at history and how we address injustices of whether it's different ethnic groups, or anything throughout history, you cannot go from an extreme to peace until you have recognized and reconciled the injustice. And I think that is what's at the heart of what the group tonight is calling for. And so whether it was a final decision for this to be a proclamation, I think a proclamation can invoke strong language, not to be provocative, but to call out the very injustice at which we are asking for peace. And so I just want us to be mindful of that. And, I'm taking paraphrasing a quote from Dr. King, where he says that true peace is not merely the absence of tension, but it is the presence of justice. And so if there is tension on a situation, there is an injustice that needs to be discussed. And until we address the tension, which is the injustice, there will never be peace. So I appreciate you allowing me time. Thank you.
Okay. I will go ahead and read the proclamation. Whereas the City of Lawrence is advocating for peace, understanding, and cooperation in the Middle East, particularly between Palestine and Israel, in the spirit of being a welcoming, equitable, and inclusive community, we reaffirm our commitment to rejecting all forms of racial, religious bigotry in our community, which includes Islamophobia and anti-Semitism. And whereas the ongoing conflict in the Middle East has claimed too many human lives and caused immeasurable suffering for countless individuals and families, the City of Lawrence acknowledges that many of our neighbors and co-workers are profoundly suffering as a result of this conflict. And must remember at the heart of this issue are ordinary people yearning for security, dignity, and opportunity to lead fulfilling lives. It is incumbent upon all of us, regardless of our affiliations or backgrounds, to advocate for humanitarian aid and resources that can provide a better future for the people of Palestine and Israel. And whereas this is not a task for governments alone, it requires the support and involvement of civil society, international organizations, and people like you and me. And whereas staying true to our values as a welcoming community, the City of Lawrence asks you to display compassion to all who are grieving. We encourage everyone to reach out and care for fellow citizens, co-workers, and friends. Our acknowledgement of their pain and suffering can potentially lessen the sense of isolation and fear that they might be experiencing. And whereas it is all of our responsibility to do everything in our power to promote understanding, foster empathy, and work to dispel stereotypes and biases that have perpetuated this disastrous conflict in Palestine and Israel. Now, therefore, I, Bart Littlejohn, Mayor of the City of Lawrence, hereby proclaim the month of January 2024 as Advocating for Peace Month. That moves us on to general public comments. Item C. The public is allowed to speak on issues or items that are not scheduled for discussion on the agenda. Comments should be limited to issues and items germane to the business of the governing body. The commission will not discuss or debate these items, nor will the commission make decisions on items presented during this time. Members of the public will be limited to 3 minutes for public comment.
I won't spend much time on that milquetoast resolution that you just read, or the volume with which you read it. I could barely understand you out there, so that was very hearty the way it was transmitted, because most of these people back here are probably going to give you a few thoughts on how that went. For the most part, I believe I pretty much agree with Ms. Sellers that if we're going to do something, let's do it. Let's not go halfway. But what I want to address is the fact that you guys are calling for justice to something that's happening overseas, and you can't even figure out justice here. There is city video that exists that shows your chief of police lying to your community police review board. Not a one of you have said anything about it. Mr. Dever, you just got here, so you're not even in that yet. But where's Ms. Larson? Why can't she be here? Did she remember the meeting tonight? But you have your chief of police lying and members resigning. And when I said I broke that board, I meant I exposed your chief. But you guys ignored it. Why? Why is it that when I put something up that shows a discrepancy in this town, like homeless addicts getting trespassed from the TRC, the Treatment Recovery Center, when I put something up like that, I send it to you guys and I hear nothing back. I don't get a response to those emails. Occasionally I'll get one from one person, nothing from anybody else. But you guys will respond to other people that will send that to you. And then you have city people, Misty Bosch Hastings in particular, who I sent an issue to her, and she removed me from a forward from somebody else and responded to that person instead. That's disrespectful. And you can ignore me all you want, but you can't change the circumstances that we're in. You created a situation. You created a situation with me by ignoring problems, by ignoring your responsibility to justice, by ignoring your responsibility to actually put forward a community police review board that could do its job instead of being co-opted by the chief of police, a lying chief of police at that. And it turns out there's a little bit more about that chief. Turns out he's involved in other conspiracies out there in his past. We're going to keep digging on those. People are contacting me, guys. I've been contacted by a few more people around here today that have had problems with your officers. They're coming to me because you won't do anything. Figure that out. They're coming to me because you won't do anything. Ask the questions and fix it.
room and sharing. I wanted to come up here for a couple different reasons. One of them is that a few people out there were saying, I feel that if we can acknowledge that we can do everything in our power, we can also explicitly call for a ceasefire in Gaza. I understand that the proclamation contains the statement initially about how the city of Lawrence is advocating for peace in the Middle East, particularly between Palestine and Israel, but it felt like the decision to explicitly leave out
Hey guys, I'm
a
gonna come back here.
actual call for a ceasefire was.
Gotta come back here in the back a little bit because the mayor and such will try to get all pissy about trying to kick people out if we get up there too close and make some noise, but I wanted to check in with you guys. The problem with all these proclamations and such that this city makes is that they're constantly making them and they have no teeth to them. They have no meaning behind them. They're just a feel-good thing that the city does to try to pacify a group. And that's the same shit they've tried to do with the police problems that we've had in here. They've tried to placate with a pacified little group, and it hasn't worked out very well.
And I'm worried about how things like evaluations of who's physically disabled.
Jonathan, I'm actually live right now with my audience. Would you like to comment on the CPRD status?
No, we've got a meeting on next Monday.
Next Monday?
Yeah, we're on draft report.
And are we still going to take third-party complaints out of the process where a third party who witnessed something or has a report to make can't make a complaint?
I don't know what the status is on that yet.
Because I feel like that was targeted specifically at the complaint that I was making on behalf of other people. Have you not heard that in meetings? It kind of sounded like it the way Mr. Temple and Ms. Clary talked. Are you presenting tonight?
No, we're not. They're not done with their report.
You know there's more on the chief out there coming out. You paying attention?
You know, your dog is the reason they get up in the morning, and
I can't believe you guys don't pay
going to be
attention.
able to live there.
It's on my channel.
That's the case. And I feel like especially because people were so heavily encouraged to move to the Northwest camp over other places.
They don't pay attention.
And given that
The information's out there to hear it. I just had a discussion with Austin Hornbostel a little bit ago now. Austin, if you go back on my page, you'll find a night where I was here, and I believe I was actually live, and I followed commissioners out, asking them questions, peppering them with questions, and this reporter wouldn't cover anything, so I peppered him with a few questions as we were coming out too. Well, he ends up conspiring with the city to put me on this 60-day restriction, claiming that I was some kind of a threat. And the other commissioner, that was Courtney Shipley, she got voted out of office this year. Hopefully, some of it had to do with that lie she told to make that happen. But her and Austin Hornbostel basically conspired with the city manager to turn me into some kind of a threat because I was peppering them with questions that they didn't want to hear. But that's how this city operates, guys. And I'm not going to keep you too long. I wanted to show you a little bit of the City Hall tonight, a little bit of the meeting, and let you know that the Community Police Review Board, when it comes back, if it comes back, if Lockhart still has as much control over it as he does, it's never going to work. But as you can see, I don't know if you guys can see through the windows out there, we got quite a bit of protest out here. They're trying to get the city to call for a ceasefire, and you know the city's only going to do lukewarm stuff. But I appreciate you guys tuning in, and whoever put the super up there, I appreciate that. Local people, if there's something going on that you need help with, I don't have to publish it. I mean, if you want me to, I can after things are finished, and we may talk about that down the road. But if you need right now help, you know, I'm willing to lend you an ear and point you in the right direction if I know it, and I'll tell you if I don't. But if you're struggling with a police situation or something, send me an email. Give me a holler. I've had a couple different people reach out. There's been a few concerns about publicizing things for public consumption. The problem is bad enough around here that I don't mind helping, because if I help you fix your problem, it's going to take us one step further to fixing the bigger problem. Because if we can show that your problem was a problem, they're going to have a harder time denying all these other problems I've brought to them. So send me an email, reach out, let me know. I appreciate everybody's support. And this is Lawrence Accountability out for now.